Hi there, my name is Jake and this is Canadian Cutting Edge. Today we're going to take a look at a Chinese knife, the Y-START, Y-START JIN02. Cool looking knife. The JIN01 by Y-START with D2 steel is my favorite knife under $25 USD. There's no knife that I like better than this knife under $25. So all of my Ganzo knives, sorry guys, I like this guy better than all of you. And I like my Ganzo knives an awful lot. Any of you who's followed this channel for a while are aware of that. This knife comes in 4 different colors, at least at GearBest. And it's a knife that also has D2 steel. This one's got an access lock instead of a liner lock on that one. And I think you would probably be interested in this knife. So stick around. We'll move the camera to the desktop mode and we'll take a look at the JIN02 by Y-START. I'm not exactly sure why, but usually I do my videos with inches across the bottom. But most of the world knows metric. It's just that one little country. No. That tiny superpower, that goes by inches. Hey, I love you guys. I've got family in the United States and friends too. I love you guys. The JIN02, really cool looking knife. Let's start off with the details. We've got a full flat grind. You can see really nice grind lines on there. Try to move it a little bit closer to hopefully show that off a bit better. Some of my fingerprints are on there a little too much. Sorry about that. Really nice looking knife. Drop point, big belly, short flat area. It's not exactly a sharpener's choil, but they had the same effect by coming down to the end here. You can sharpen this knife right to the very end of the blade. I like that immensely. We've got an access lock that they've done. We've got a knife that's got a nice rounded area on the back of the spine and the handle. I really like that because our palms are rounded. You know, convex, concave, fits together really well. A nice finger choil here with a neat little jimping done in the, what's the word I'm looking for? Chamfer. They chamfered the edges of the G10 and they did a tiny little bit of jimping in there. I've never seen that before on any knife. Let's take a closer look at that. Okay, it's finally focused. See that jimping there? That is so cool. It does actually provide a tiny bit greater purchase in your hand. I do like it. My finger rides right there and I grab onto that. So we've got that choil. Then we've got a little bit, of a concave here and then convex and concave again. So there's a bit of a belly right there, right at the biggest part of the belly here. So this is just slightly over an inch here at the largest section, and then it's smaller than an inch the rest of it, although it's right around an inch up there too. The edge has been ground really well. I like D2 steel. It's been around for a while, and I call D2 a mid-level steel. It used to be a premium steel, but metallurgy keeps on improving and changing all the time and getting better and better and better. So now it's like a mid-level steel. If it's heat treated poorly, it's been known to be a bit brittle, but since it's been around for so terribly long, the heat treat on these I found is very good, and the edge has been lasting. It lasts a whole lot longer than the low-level steels do. And it's a nice looking, comfortable kind of knife. You've got G10 handle scales. We've got green, brown, orange, and gray, the grayish brown is one color. I'm not sure. I'll put the 4 different colors in the description below. Please click where it says show more, and I'll have links for all 4 of these knives. They are either $15.31 US or $18.32 US at GearBest. It's probably just a supply and demand thing, why they did it that way. So half of them are one price, half of them are the other price. Either way, $18.32 is not a bad deal for this knife at all. I always talk in US dollars because YouTube is worldwide, and the whole world generally knows the value of a US dollar compared to their own currency. This knife has got pretty thick liners on it, and those have also been chamfered on the inside edge here. So even if you push in with your thumb right there, you don't find a sharp edge. They've done all the little things on this knife. It's open pillar construction. We've got 4 pillars along there, and this one right here is the access lock. And then we've got a stop pin up here as well, right at the, let's move the blade down. So there you can see that one's the stop pin there. So all of those pins there really hold this knife together well. And if I can get the right angle for some light in there, there you go. You can see that this knife is skeletonized. You can see a little bit there, a little bit there. It's made lighter by those, by that skeletonizing. The exact weight of the knife is 130 grams, 4.6 ounces. I like how they milled this area flat and then they made it a little bit thicker here. You've got a bit of a swell right here, so it gets to over 1/2 inch thick right here, a little over 2 centimeters thick back here, and then it comes back a little bit thinner back there. Just adds a little bit of depth. It's also being rounded this way so that at the 2 ends, it's thinner and it comes up in the middle and goes back down. All that little bit of extra milling to shape the handle scales makes this a very comfortable knife in hand. The same kind of jimping that we saw right there, we've got some more of it right up here. Very decorative, not so functional right there. There's no other jimping on the knife at all. None of the steel has jimping anywhere. The thumb stud is right where you'd want it to be to keep out of the way. When you're slicing through stuff, that thumb stud's not going to get in the way. And yet it's perfectly functional. From the factory, mine comes with some fairly strong springs. And I'm not changing them. I'm not trying to... I have a video on how to make a spring softer for an axis lock. I've not done that to these. If it keeps staying tight after, I've used it, 6 or 7 or 8 more times than I have already, then I might consider that. But it's not super tight right now, but it's certainly tight enough to function as a very good detent. See, that just sucks it right in. This knife will not come out by shaking it, which is a good thing that if you're in Canada, CBSA tends to confiscate knives that they can open by shaking them hard. They call that a centrifugal deployment of the blade, although scientifically that's called inertia. You bring your hand down, you stop your hand, the blade wants to keep going. Whatever. Just because they can't get science right is not going to stop them from taking your knives. But this knife, I think you have very, very low odds of them taking from you if you order it straight to Canada. And it's a good buy. If you don't have a Y-START knife, get these while they last. GearBest did have this knife on for a while, and they sold out and they've not renewed them, so they don't have any more of these. I suspect the same thing might happen with these. So go to the links in the description below and get yourself one of these knives. The pocket clip is kind of unique. They've done this little standoff thing with the pocket clip. Once it focuses, there you go. They've done a standoff with the pocket clip so that it rides in your pocket right up to the end without any barrier at all. So you've got maybe the better part of a centimeter, 8 or 9 millimeters sticking out of your pocket, 3/8 of an inch maybe. Let's do some cutting tests. Here we've got some packing strapping, so for a big box, and it cuts through that really, really easily. Just this kind of fiber likes to, once there's no resistance, it just likes to let go. And you can cut through this way very well. Most of you have seen this cordage that cuts really well. There's no problem with it at all. You can cut through it that way as well. And you can see inside there that there's an awful lot of steel fibers. There's other foil things. There's stuff that's like from a paracord inside. And then you've got your 4 copper wires as well. So it does take a fair bit of pressure and force and a sharp knife to cut through that. I want to do a spine lock test because a lot of people think axis locks aren't too strong unless they're made by Benchmade. No problem at all. There's no blade play, up, down, back and forth, even after that whackage. So there you have the Y-START JIN02. I hope there's a whole lot more of these knives that Y-START makes because I'm really enjoying them. If you like this video, please click like in the lower right-hand corner, share in the lower left-hand corner with somebody who's interested in folding knives and might not have heard of this knife brand and the quality that they produce. Please subscribe to the channel if you're not yet a subscriber. It helps me in more ways than I can tell you right now. It really does make a practical difference. And remember, always, when you're using a cutting edge, cut towards your chum and not your thumb. Bye now.